4th of July coming up this weekend, and let's face it, it's going to feel a little bit different for an awful lot of us this year, between the rain that seems to not want to go away and of course the COVID situation that continues to linger. But thanks to the Tennessee Aquarium, there is still plenty of fun that you can find as we celebrate our country's birthday. Tom Benson joins us this morning, and you've got some fireworks behind you. It looks like a little bit. Those jellyfish are pretty luminescent this morning.
Yeah, it really feels like I've got living fireworks going on behind me, and as we watch, they kind of almost string out like they're, bombs bursting in air like the 4th of July. So yeah, they're very colorful. And in our Boneless Beauties gallery, the moon jellies right now, we have some changing colored lights like the West Coast sea nettles behind me that give that, feeling that those jellies are changing colors. It's very, very cool.
So let's talk a little bit, because I know when you and I were chatting before, you're very eager to point out what's happening at the aquarium, but I think you're even more eager to point out the fact that you're not a standalone. Within the 4th of July weekend, you've got the River Market going on, and then the National Medal of Honor Museum will also be open.
Yeah, we took a look around and saw that there were so many traditional activities that had been canceled this 4th of July. And so we wanted to provide an opportunity for families to get out safely together and have some family fun. So the aquarium has expanded our hours. We will be open Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Our last timed entry ticket will be sold at 7 p.m. So you'll have plenty of time to come through the buildings. And as a reminder, timed entry tickets need to be purchased online in advance so we can maintain those capacity limits that allow us to spread people safely throughout the buildings and give everybody that important physical distance of 6 feet or more between family groups. So we've been able to do that. This will be our fourth weekend that we've been reopened. And so 4th of July weekend, we have expanded hours. The Charles H. Coolidge National Medal of Honor Heritage Center will also be open until 9 p.m. both Friday and Saturday nights. The Chattanooga River Market will be out on the plaza all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And of course, the Creative Discovery Museum just reopened recently, so there's another activity that people can enjoy this weekend.
You know, Tom, I guess we're pretty resilient people by nature, and we can accept change pretty quickly. I know people watching this morning who are very eager to see us go back to life as we used to know it. But when COVID first happened in March, everybody was so scared to venture out. Do you feel like now the crowds are coming back and they're pretty comfortable with just simply the timed entry, as you say, and the mask wearing? They seem to be accepting of this new normal.
Well, I think that everybody is trying to do things as safely as possible. And so it's incumbent upon all of us to protect ourselves, but it's also incumbent upon those attractions like the Tennessee Aquarium to do what we can to be aligned with the guidance and the best practices that are out there with the state of Tennessee, Hamilton County, the city of Chattanooga, and bringing in, like we did, infectious disease specialists to go over our plan and make sure that what we're doing is safe for everyone. So for folks who would like to visit the Tennessee Aquarium, for example, when everyone is wearing masks, we have early bird entry hours from 9 to 11 a.m. and everyone visiting during those hours will be required to wear masks. Our staff and volunteers will be wearing masks just like this one throughout the entire day, and we strongly recommend all of our visitors wear masks, but it's not required outside of those hours, 9 to 11 a.m.
Okay, so that's good to know, because there is still, everybody is sitting in their own kitchens and front porches questioning what's coming down the pike, and no one can predict and see the future. But that's good to know that you can still keep business coming through those doorways and you're meeting people safely where their comfort level is.
Right, and I think, again, everybody has been doing all the legwork that they can before they reopen. So the Chattanooga River Market, for example, we have limited the number of vendors out there. We're giving extra space between the booths, and so it's an outside activity where there's air circulating around. So again, people should feel very comfortable. It's an added feature for us at the aquarium, because if you come a little bit early for your timed entry, let's say, for example, you purchase a timed entry ticket for 11 a.m. and you get there at 10 or 10:30, you have the opportunity to see those artists and craftsmen and purchase some of their works before you go into the aquarium. Or after you visit, it gives you something extra to do right there in the downtown area. And we would also hope that folks would come down and support the local restaurants that have been so hard hit by this pandemic as well. There's a lot of great takeout options and places where you can enjoy a meal on the Tennessee River. For example, those concrete benches that are down there right on the waterfront. It's a great place to spend some time at lunch or dinner, enjoying some of the great food that's produced by the local restaurants in an outdoor setting with your family, adequately spaced from others.
So I missed you being in the studio because whenever you're here, you'll have something to talk about, whether it's an IMAX movie or a creature that you bring with you, and I can just sit back and let you do the talking. So educate us a little bit, if you know with the story, on the jellyfish behind you. In the wild, did they really change color like that?
No, absolutely not. But they are beautifully colored. Their bells are kind of a yellowish orange, and the tentacles are kind of a reddish pink, and the oral arms, those frilly things that you see hanging down from the bell, are actually white, and so they're very colorful in their own. These are Pacific or West Coast sea nettles, and they're found obviously by their name throughout the Pacific Ocean. But jellyfish, many species of them are now found worldwide because they tend to get drawn up some in the ballast water in ships. And then when ships go into port, sometimes they dump that ballast water out, and the jellies and their the ephira, the early stages of the jellyfish life cycle, get transported around the globe. And so these guys can be found outside of the Pacific Basin where they're native to. And so in some parts of the world, they're considered an invasive species, but they're very cool. And it's really neat to see these guys eat. They get fed kind of a liquid diet, but it gets caught up and drawn up towards that mouth through those oral arms. So they're very interesting creatures. And it's, I think jellies are ethereal. They're kind of alien-like creatures. They don't really have a brain. They sort of have eyes, but this living creature that's kind of this gelatinous mass, and is just beautiful and kind of artistic in its own right.
Yeah.
They're just amazing to watch.
It's like looking at a lava lamp or something.
I've had several people tell me that
Really?
yes, they do. They look like a lava lamp, especially with the LED lights that we have
Yeah.
producing that effect that looks like they're changing colors.
Yeah. And do they live long? I mean, is this the kind of jelly that can get really, really large?
Most jelly species do not live that long. Larger jellies like this tend to have longer lifespans, but jellyfish are one of those creatures that tends to produce in big numbers but have a very short lifespan. Generally speaking, species that produce fewer young and tend to be longer lived, so they have that reproductive strategy over time. But these guys, because of their relatively short lifespan, have to produce in big numbers.
All right, Tom Benson, it's always good to see you and get an education from you, so thank you for that this morning.
Yeah, thank you, and I hope everyone has a happy and safe 4th of July weekend. It will certainly be one like no other in our lifetimes, and hopefully we only experience one like this in our lifetimes.
Crossing our fingers, absolutely. Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
And you can go to tnaqua.org. That's the website where you can go ahead and purchase your timed entry ticket into the Tennessee Aquarium. And as you heard Tom say, just watch. They'll describe for you when the mask required times are versus when it's just mask recommended, so that you can find the best time for you and your friends or family. We're back with more 3+U in just a minute.
All right, let's roll.
Come on, pizza's in. Whoa.
This is my new pizza, the Shakaroni, and it's bigger